it's not close, it's going to be exciting. And if it's not exciting, we're still going to have a lot of fun with it, Grant. Two fan favorites in Vanya and Harstem. We couldn't ask for better folks to cast here for our penultimate series of the day.
Yeah, and to start things off, our player in the bottom left-hand side of Oxide, he is the captain. He's the Twitch Prime ambassador, representing Team Liquid and the Netherlands.
Click it. Do it.
It's Harstem.
Just click it. Why aren't you clicking? Click now. Just click. Why aren't you clicking? Love him so much. Spawning in the top right-hand side in the red from B100 Esports and Mother Russia, it is Uncle Vanya. You ever seen that play, Grant?
No.
No, nobody's ever seen that play. It's not a real. I mean, it's a real play, but nobody's ever actually seen it. Even the theater majors who were supposed to go see it in college never saw it.
Yeah, I was very like this. I took literature, English literature in college, or what we call college, which is
right,
like between 16 and 18. And they wanted us to read like Mary Shelley's Frankenstein and some other stuff. And
Did you not read Frankenstein?
I got the highest grade, which is an A star, without reading the book.
That's kind of sad, honestly.
I know.
While there's a hatch block going down for Vanya, I do just want to say, Grant, I'm sure I've told you about the comedian John Mulaney before. Mm-hmm. He has a great bit. Yeah, beautiful. He has a great bit about where he was also an English major in university, and he said, I spent $120,000 on university for someone to tell me to read Jane Austen, and then I didn't. I walked across the stage. I paid $120,000 to get a degree in a language that I already spoke.
Yep.
Talking based on how much crinkling I hear from whatever snack you're eating.
Cookie from Subway.
Cookie from Subway. That's exactly what that sound was. I should have guessed. Nice snipes here at the third base, though, from Harstem, or from Vanya, rather. But he's not able to put too much pressure on the third base. But, of course, he's not moving in to too much aggression beyond this. So he's not really trying to force a cancel on that third base or anything. Just making sure that there's a little pressure on Harstem so Harstem can't just probe up and do nothing but probe, and build his infrastructure. Meanwhile, Roach Warren coming down from Vanya here. Grant, there's no lair tech on the way. No. There's not a lot of gas taken right now. Just one gas taken for Vanya. How seriously is he going to invest in these roaches?
I'm not too sure if the roaches are going to be a big investment, but he has just made a big round of lings. Now sitting up at 22, there's no battery here. So these warpings are going to come in, but I'm pretty sure that could be a problem here. For Harstem, he could end up losing all of these units unless he can bring his Oracle and things across. Where is the Oracles? They're at the other side of the map scale, which means all of these units will go down. It will eventually be cleaned up. Oh, there's some probes there. They are counting their lucky stars that they didn't get blown down then. But in the end, Harstem does hold, but a lot of early units thrown away.
Yeah, look at the resources lost tab here, actually in favor of Vanya here, who's lost fewer resources just because he's been trading away lings for the entire game. And as we said previously, you know, the ratio of lings traded to actual units picked off is you're happy to go for a 10 for 1, honestly, on lings. Not a problem at all. We've got the Templar Archives coming down now from Harstem, and with Zealot Charge on the way, that's telling me we're going to see some proper old school stuff here from Harstem, looking like Charge Lot into Archon play. Following that Warp Gate. Grant, this is a build that hits a little bit later. Is this still a good call from Harstem, knowing that he's up against a player who's comfortable in the late game, to go for a late game strategy himself?
Yeah, I think so. I think Harstem would be... this is one of those games where you look at this and go, Vanya is good, but he's not sterile. You're not that worried about going along with him. And Harstem will feel... He's one of those players, he's a confidence player. If he feels... like he's in a good stride, he's going to play late and he's going to do a good job of it. And you know, he's not seen anything that should dissuade him of going late so far. He's doing fine. His work account is great, 64 already. He's adding on gateways. He's now going to get his prism and things. Oxide, a great map for a prism. It's with the bases spread out so far, there's a lot of places you can hit at once. It's very hard if you hit in the space here in the northwest, as well as in the main with a prism or something like that. A Zerg army has to run a long way to cover both of those angles. So I do like this. The Spire coming out from Vanya, maybe a little bit surprising here. Has Harstem seen that? Yes.
Yeah, Observer getting in now. Harstem has seen a Spire, and we'll see the exact timing on the Spire, actually, just as it pops with that Observer. So, as usual, Harstem's scouting on point, but like we said, Vanya getting that Roach Warren, it's not just for vanity. You know, he's not going to invest as heavily into the Roach Warren as you might have expected, but he is still going to get a fair amount of damage done with those Roaches as he pushes across the map. Actually, oh my god, are you kidding me? Huge mistake from Vanya here, Grant, pulling all those Roaches back home to deal with 3 Zealots? Are you joking right now? Vanya ceding all of his army supply advantage right now just to go back and move his army into the natural before getting pushed back here. Grant, I gotta be honest, that's a huge mistake from Vanya.
Yeah, and Vanya also just giving Harstem the opportunity to Revelation his Mutas. Mutas typically all sticking together, so if you can Revelation a couple of them, you can keep track of that for a long time, as well as the majority of the army. Harstem is able to see everything right now. He has some Phoenixes, with more and more being produced here to deal with the Mutas. He doesn't want to overreact to Phoenixes right now, and he doesn't want to fight too far away from Bacteries and things. He's going to lose one Archon and oh my god, actually the Immortal taking the brunt of that bio damage. Okay, the Force Fields are nice to catch some of this. Harstem's doing a good job defending, only losing a couple of workers, and killing all of these Mutas. Things have just gone very well for Harstem, actually.
Man, I don't want to pin this all on one mistake from Vanya, and it might not even be a mistake, you know, but genuinely sending that entire Zerg army back home to deal with a 3 Zealot warp-in into the main, just a huge mistake. I think, Grant, one thing that I talk about a lot is that people treat army supply as though it's like a straight resource in the game, right? It's not. Remember, if you have 100 army supply on the map, but you're not using it for anything, you're not attacking, you're not defending, it's absolutely worthless. In fact, I'd rather not have army supply because it means you have not made it enough economy behind this. So Vanya is spending a lot of time just bouncing back and forth like he's a bad pinball player between his own natural and the third of Harstem. And Harstem's going to be able to find a good advantage here, defending very well, and now even chasing down these Roach Ravagers. And Grant, there's no follow-up here. He's got a Spire, but there's no Infestation Pit, there's no Hive, there's no Ultralisk Cavern or Brood Lords or anything like that. Vanya's stuck on Roach Ravager now, and as we hit the 10-minute mark, my general rule is, Grant, if you're still making just Roach Ravager after 10 minutes, you've done something very wrong as a Zerg player.
Yeah, this is nice from Vanya. He's going to wrap around to the southeast here, and will catch this building Nexus. But Harstem at this point is in a very good position. You've just seen the last couple of fights have been very one-sided. There's just a very, very strong Protoss army here. Lots of Archons to really soak up the damage. Immortals in the back to dish it, and Zealots to force the micro, as well as dish out a consistent form of DPS. And now Phoenixes as well, they can lift up those money units, the Ravagers in this case, which also take a lot of damage from Phoenixes and just kill them for free. Oracles offering consistent vision. Harstem's army is just the complete Protoss experience right now. He doesn't need to look to consider transitioning. He has a little bit of everything. His upgrades are pretty good. He is getting Storm as well, so if there is a Ling Bane or Hydra transition, he doesn't need to worry about it.
Yeah, Grant, you know, a lot of people talk about how Roaches cause bloated supply numbers, right? Roaches give you a false idea of how much your supply is really worth. Actually, nice movement here by Vanya in the natural. But if you look at the army supply, you're like, wow, Vanya is so far ahead here, this is crazy. But really what you got to do is hit the A button in the Observer interface and look at the army value tab. That's the crucial part to look at. Even though Vanya has maybe 2/3 more army supply or 1/3 more army supply than Harstem, the army value of his army is so much weaker. Just no gap in that at all. A very low tech army. And while Vanya is desperately trying to make it work, as you said, with Storm coming down, with more Immortals getting scrubbed in here, Harstem is doing a better and better job. I think even if he loses his 4th base here, he's still in a very strong position, Grant.
Yeah, Harstem's not going to lose that 4th base either. Now his army has been split up a little bit. That Archon doing so much, and Vanya knows the dominant one map victory. Representing the dark horse of Team Liquid, he is the Dutch Protoss player in blue, Harstem. I forgot what I'd put in. I forgot what I'd put in and what I'd missed.
You fooled me, Jerry. Did you watch Seinfeld?
No. I'm English. We didn't really have... Like, I don't even really get what Seinfeld is.
That's the whole point of the show, man.
Yeah.
There's a great episode where the characters in Seinfeld have gotten their own TV show, and now they're training actors to basically play themselves. Okay. So and of course they've never run a TV show before, so they don't know how to like work with actors. So one of the actors is saying a line really incorrectly, and the guy who wrote the line based on his own real life experience is trying to tell this actor how to say the line. The actor's like, I don't think my character would say the line that way. And the guy's like, but it's me. Anyway, it's good. And so the line is He's talking about how, speaking of selling out, holy crap, Harstem going for a second Stargate Grant. We just talked about how conservative his play normally is. This is a bit more of a bold play, yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't have expected this from Harstem, but if I don't expect it, it's likely Vanya doesn't expect it. Harstem's done a good job with these Oracles too. Maybe able to take down a Queen here, does not want to go into the Spore Crawler range as those Oracles are bloody low and one will fall. But he's killed a good amount of workers to get things going. 8 in total throughout this game is nothing to scoff at here. And now the Phoenixes are being cracked out. And as long as nothing gets in, of course, we know there's no overlords on the map. The Phoenix has already cleared that. Harstem's going to really power up on this Phoenix production. And they're very good against roaches.
Yeah, Grant, can you talk a little bit more about Phoenix versus Roach and why Phoenix can be such a good counter? Because I think a lot of people are like, wait a minute, aren't roaches armored? Like, surely they don't take that much damage from Phoenix, and if you get a lot of roaches on the ground, won't they just overrun the Protoss player? Harstem has seen these roaches now. He knows the build. He's still making Phoenix. Why is he so confident in his Phoenix play against roaches?
Yeah, roaches need large numbers. They need to fight all together as a group of, at least like 10, 15 plus. If you can lift up, 3/4 of that group and allow the army on the ground to do the damage, they're great. Harstem as well now adding in a Void Ray. He knows something is afoot here. This Ling is the only thing that is going to be in position to drop a Nidus. And it's going to be immediately seen. Harstem is in position to take this down if he wants to. He's not going to.
He's one pixel away.
Yeah,
he doesn't see it, Grant. Wow. He's one pixel away. Very fortuitous there from Vanya, who actually saw those Adepts out with his Ling and moved the Ling back about 1.5 inches to finally get this Nidus out. The Queens will pop out, but the problem right now is that this is not a swarm host play, so there's no really range damage. Like, you can't just park up on the high ground and do damage. You got to be in a little bit closer, and the creep spread is going to take a while to get there, and that means that these Queens are going to be very slow, enabling them to be picked up by the Phoenix quite quickly. Let's see what Vanya can get done, though.
Yeah, there's the threat of the Nidus word in the main is a problem here for Harstem. He needs to deal with that. He will clean this up. Super Battery plus Void Ray plus Phoenixes means he kills the Queens and he has complete control of the air. But what's going on in the main right now, Creighton? There's a lot just come out there, and this is a lot of damage. Probe's forced to fight. He's trying to get the Void Rays out to defend the main, and they will get out eventually. They need to target down, of course, the Spore Crawlers before they can do too much, and that's what's going to be the case here. Go for the Nidus one maybe first. 2 Void Rays, I mean, it's okay. Harstem may be a little bit unprepared for that damage in the main. Does he have a recall available? Looks like it's pretty close. He's going to clean this up, but that was damage in the end. But behind this, Vanya's got, like, no workers, really. Okay, if he can kill all of these, that would be good.
It's so tough to call, Grant. As you said, Vanya's worker count is about 47 right now. So even though Harstem is taking some serious damage, significant damage here, 13 probes going down and a lot of infrastructure damage in the main base, he is still 10 probes ahead. His third base has not fallen. In fact, it's still at full health. So these Lings trying to get what they can done, but the Void Ray switch from Harstem is actually paying off in spades. If he had just made Phoenix an Oracle, he'd be wasting a lot of time lifting up individual Zerglings and running out of energy on those Oracles. As it is, the 5 Void... There it is. Charge.
Okay. This is
Charge
good.
Archon?
I mean, just Charge Lot Void Ray is a very good composition itself. Void Ray's pretty good against Corruptors, and Charge Lot's really good against Corruptors because they could just ignore them. Yeah, I still think Harstem's in a very good position here. It'll be difficult at any point for this game to slip away from him. He has now seen that there are a bunch of Corruptors. He needs to make sure that he has enough static defense to make sure that they don't have time to get their acidic urine all over some of these buildings and kill some next eye here.
Caustic spray just got so much grosser, Grant.
Yeah, acidic urine. Yeah, he's going to go for try and make that happen, but there's not enough here for Vanya at this point. His worker count is 11 short. Harstem's adding on plenty of tech. He's getting robo. He's adding lots of gateways here so he can keep his ground army strong. I kind of would have liked to have seen Harstem just fully commit to staying on air tech, but I guess Harstem, a considerably better player than I am, knows that he is more comfortable playing with a ground and air army. Vanya doing a great job microing against the Void Racer here. This is why Flux veins.
Yeah, I will admit to some degree of perplexity here as to why Harstem is not invested in that fleet beacon. He clearly has the money for it, floating almost 800 right now, and with no Flux Veins, with no Anion Pulse Crystals for the Phoenix, it's going to be more and more difficult to engage with these Corruptors. You can see the Corruptors just try. I thought they were going to stick around for a little while longer, finally chased away here, but very unusual choices here from Harstem not to go for more powerful anti-air. I think he maybe doesn't want to get dragged into an air war against Vanya, who is a very accomplished Corruptor player and already has those Corruptors out. But with +1 air weapons finished up, I just don't see this as being a negative for Harstem. These Corruptors are drawing him back home. They're going to take down this Templar Archives, which is just unfortunate. And man, I don't know. 1 Archon out for Harstem doesn't seem like a good trade when this could have been pure Void Ray, pure upgraded Void Ray. And Vanya, while the Void Rays were out, had no response, Grant. Remember, he was so far behind in that Corruptor play. I think Harstem wasting a bit of an opportunity. But again, reminder to us and to the viewers back home to stay humble. We have map hacks. Yeah, we have map hacks. These players just don't.
Yeah, definitely. And Vanya's doing a very good job of keeping Harstem busy. That caustic spray, that acidic urine is a real threat. You don't want to lose the Nexus. You don't want to lose a Nexus to it when you've only got a couple of really active Nexuses, because that will throw a game for you. So Harstem knows he needs to really cement his position here. And he still has the Phoenixes. He's still seeing a lot. He's going to lose one there to the... Oh, he doesn't even kill that Overlord. That's tragic. This is a lot of units right now here from Vanya, who is a 121 army supply. Harstem, has he fully established at what's coming his way? He's only got 1 battery here, 2 batteries now. This base is going to vanish under these Roaches and Ravagers.
Yeah, if Vanya was to choose to engage here, it definitely would have. I think Vanya's probably making the right call to try and disengage here because he does see that Void Rays are out, Archons are out. Void Rays, of course, do extra damage against armored units, and Archons do extra damage against biological units, which means that Roach Ravager against Void Ray Archon is a really rough composition to deal with. Stalker's warping in to save this 3rd base as the shield battery overcharge is used on Harstem's 3rd, and this is going to get shoved back here for Vanya, and granted, it looks very similar to our last game, where it looks like Vanya has a huge army advantage if you just look at army supply. But if you pop open that army value tab, you'll see that Harstem is actually much more competitive than just the sheer numbers might make it seem. Not as much of a runaway victory this time, though, for Harstem as it was last time.
Yeah, I'm a little bit concerned. Harstem's really taken his time here, and Vanya's starting to take great fights. Harstem ate a few big bios, lost a couple of Archons really early in the fights here. Maybe a little bit thrown off by how this game has gone, but his upgrades are good. +2 will be finishing in about 20 seconds here. This base should be relatively safe as Harstem can rotate around in order to save it. Some nice bios will get a little bit of damage done here. Vanya playing some really good StarCraft right now, forcing Harstem to be the defender constantly. And Vanya now has a pretty big supply lead here.
Yeah, this is actually really impressive for Vanya, who's able to put up a decent fight. This is a must-win for Vanya, by the way. Guys, if Harstem loses this series, he's down 0-3. In his group. That's a really rough start. In fact, the last map, Grant, we failed to mention it. The last map win that Harstem took in game 1 of this series was his first map win of the entire tournament, dropping 0-2 to both Harstem, to both Clem and to Elaser. So 2 tough losses there for Harstem. Of course, those are 2 of the favored players in the group. I think Harstem probably went into those matches expecting them to be very tough, but still not a great place to start.
Yeah, we have some damage going down at the 12 o'clock point here. Looks like that's just been cleaned up by a couple of Roaches. But some nice worker kills there. Vanya back down to just 52. Harstem has got enough time now to get Storm, and it's a very heavy Ravager army. And Storm is good against Ravagers. Crap against Roaches, as you can see here. Pretty good against the Ravagers. We'll tickle them down a lot more here. And Harstem just continuing to make a lot of units. The good thing for him is that his immortal count is strong, and he's hit that similar army to what he had in game 1. Where he's got a lot of Immortals, he's got some Archons, Storms, he's got really everything. He started to get better at dealing with the Corruptors, loses 2 High Templars there for 3, that's not good. Nice Storm there on the Roaches again, but they do regen. The Corruptors haven't been able to find too much damage, they keep darting in the main and then falling down here. Harstem once again has a supply lead, and his upgrades are very, very strong now. This has been a completely unupgraded army for a long time from Vanya that's been causing all of this trouble. He's just got +1 ranged weapons. He's had +1 air for a while, of course, but they're not fighting. Now the army's coming together here. Big storm, maybe-ish. I mean, it was a small storm. It was like a warm-up storm here.
Tropical depression, not even a storm.
Yeah.
You can't even call it a storm.
Yeah.
There's the storm we're looking for, though, softening up, and not just softening up, but since there's so many storms available for Harstem, he's able to use them for the dual purpose of causing damage and also zoning out the Zerg army, and that can't be overstated. It doesn't show up on the map, and unless you're really paying attention to the rotations here. But the zoning is so important. Some good biles here, and actually Harstem eating a couple biles.
Yeah.
But Harstem now so far ahead in army supply, and he's been so far ahead in income for the entire game that even if he doesn't trade very efficiently here, which he still pretty much is, Vanya's stuck on 50 drones. Granted, 16 minutes in the game, you don't want to be on 5-0 drones. You want to be on about 8-0 drones right now. Vanya way behind where he wants to be. these four zealots forcing another Vanya run by all the way back to his natural. This is something, the mistake he made in game number 1, responding with too much force to a very small run by from Harstem. And that tells me that Vanya is playing really scared, so nervous about his economy that he can't afford to get out of here. These corrosive vials, wow. Oh my god, how do those immortals live? Barrier so strong.
Yeah, GG is called. Harstem